Hello, and welcome to Healthy Tips and Sobriety Masterclass Series for recovery and with women, and to gain insights, action steps, and get motivation so that you can develop your path and create your own journey in recovery. And my name is Corrine Berry. I'm the host of this event, and today we have Wendy Behar. And Wendy is, my goodness, she's a recovery coach. She's a licensed therapist. She is an addiction specialist, which we'll talk about as well. She's an author, and she has her own community. So we definitely want to welcome Wendy. Thank you so much for coming and joining us at the summit today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, we're so excited to have you here. We have so much to talk about in such a little time, but we'll get to it for sure. So, wow, I can't even really know where to start because there is a lot that you have done. And we'll start with like the amount of recovery time. You've been in recovery 25 plus years, and you're still very, very active in your recovery program personally and in your community to help others. So before we get to your community and what you do for other women, can you just tell us a little bit how you got started, kind of a little bit of your story, but to where you ended up where you are today?
Okay, sure. So in 1998, many, many moons ago, I drank for the last time. And what happened to me was I would hide it at night, and during the day, you would never know because I never drank during the day. I had my 2 children, and my life was very charmed. I was married. I took my children to school, homework, all their events, never drank and drove with them in the car. But 5, 6 o'clock, I would have my solo cup and go from room to room. And this progressed up till, I guess, when we went to a wedding. And at that wedding, I just kept on drinking. I kept on telling the bartender, oh, just leave some wine here. And every time I walked by, I'd have another one, until I had a blackout. And my husband was crying that evening. My children were 7 and 9 at the time. And the next day I went to my first AA meeting. And actually my mother took me because it was an open meeting, which means that anybody could go. You don't have to be in recovery. Mm-hmm. And from then on, I kept on going to meetings, and I took all the suggestions. I got a sponsor. I started working the steps. I started sponsoring people. And when I was 7 years sober, I actually had an epiphany moment, and I decided to get a divorce, go back to school, because I always wanted to be a social worker. And I was able to do that. And I started working in an intensive outpatient, facilitating groups and seeing individuals as a therapist for 18 years. And then during COVID, I wrote a book about how to empower women, how to take care of themselves, and set healthy boundaries. And then from there, I started my own business, which is I created a coaching program called the Happiness Sobriety System, which is also extended to people that aren't in recovery. It could be family members of addicts or alcoholics that need to learn how to focus on themselves and really honor themselves and set those healthy boundaries. And also for women in general who just want to learn how to stop people pleasing and learn strategies on how to take care of themselves, because really the 12 steps of recovery really should be for everyone. I always say the 12 steps should be in the crib when you're born. You just take the first step out, right? You're powerless over alcohol and your life has become unmanageable. Just take the alcohol out, because really all the other steps have nothing to do about alcohol. Mm-hmm. It's just a way to live, how to be a better person. And I'm 26 years, I'll have 26 years on January 1st, in recovery, and I'm still doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I go to meetings, I go to different 12-step meetings, and I go to therapy so I could be the best therapist, and I work on my stuff. And I love helping people. I've always, had a passion a special place in my heart for women. And that's what really brings me here. And I thank you for finding me on social media.
Uh,
And
That's a little
reading.
yeah. And I'm so glad you did, because you remind me of myself, because you're like, who is this? What are you trying to get a hold of me for? You're regarded because of everything that happens online with respect. And I respected that. And you saw that I did. And that's what brought us together. Now we actually become very good friends very quickly, which I'm so happy about. And a lot of that is because how you do reach out to other people in recovery and sobriety. Immediately you introduced me to another meeting, and things like that. So your impact is immediate, right? But what really impresses me about you, because I talk to you quite frequently now, you really do work on yourself every single day. And if you could just dive into that a little bit deeper, and maybe the reason why you do so, because this is so important for all of us to hear.
Okay, well, thank you for honoring that and for noticing, because it takes a lot of work. And you know what? People don't understand that the more time you have chronologically, in sobriety, actually, the more work you need to do. I don't want to scare you, but things become clear. It's like putting a new pair of glasses on, and you see things differently the healthier you get. So there are so many tools and strategies, that I have learned as a licensed social worker, and also from a woman in recovery in the rooms, that I want to share with the world. Because, I would take for granted, oh, of course, everybody knows how to do that, to meditate, to journal, to get up earlier, to take care of themselves first before anybody else. But no, they don't. Especially I find women were raised to be nurturers and to take care of others. At least I was. And I wasn't allowed to say no. If I said no to you, then I was a horrible person. So I'm constantly working on that, learning how to put the oxygen mask on myself first. I teach my daughter that, and it could backfire because she could say no to me when I want her to do something. But I'm like, good for you, Jenna. That's great. I'm glad you're able to say no, because I want people to feel safe around me. And I want to feel confident enough in myself to be able to say, you know what, let me get back to you. Let me think about it. Like when you emailed me, I said, okay, because I'm very open and I trust people, but there have been certain times where people tried to take advantage of me, and I've learned. So I did question you. And I said, let me get back to you. In the past, I probably would have been impulsive and been like, yes. But doing work on myself, I've learned to pause and think about it. And that's for everybody that's listening, to really learn before somebody asks you to do something, to just say, wait, let me think about that. And that's okay. You can think about it.
And I'd like to say on the other side of that, I was patient and understanding, which I would never have been. I would have written you off my list immediately. But instead, I tried to think of your point of view. I tried to look at I would never have done that. You know what I'm saying? But because of my recovery and the work that I do, I looked at it differently. And I pursued you again and pursued you again. And then we did start communicating. And you were very honest with me of why you were the way you were. But that shows two women showing respect for each other in full recovery to me.
Yes, that's right. That's what recovery is about. For me, it's about being the best person that you can be.
And look at us.
Right? That I want to be the best Wendy I can be. Certain days I'm not. Believe me, you can ask my husband. I already told him, do not come back until 3:00 until this video is done.
He's been locked out for her interview.
Right. I double locked him out. But it's boundaries. It's saying what you want. It's asking for help.
I want you, if you don't mind, because
Yes.
so many women, I ask, if I hear anything, the biggest thing is learning to say no and learning to put boundaries up. Can you get into that a little bit? Because you've worked a lot with this stuff, with people and yourself, because these are two things I hear daily. If you don't. Yeah.
Yes. And like I said earlier, being raised a certain way, and women being the nurturers, and you're a bad person if you say no, if you set those boundaries, and being a people pleaser and doing for others, you're actually abandoning yourself. So abandoning ourselves is a coping mechanism as well, because then we don't have to look at ourselves and really take care of ourselves. So at least for me and my clients, when we focus on others, then you don't have to look at your shit. Excuse my French, right? You don't have to look at it. Like, okay, yes. And you know what? Then you run yourself in the ground, then you get depleted, and then you want to know why you're eating a box of Oreos. Okay. It's not about drinking. It could be any other addiction. It could be gambling. It can be shopping. It can be anything, right? So if you get depleted because you keep on saying yes and you don't set those boundaries, eventually you're going to do something that's going to harm yourself. You're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah. Because it's not looked at that way. It's just like, we don't want to hurt people, and I always try to stress that you're not. And usually people, they'll adjust, they will respect your no. And then we usually move on,
Some do, excuse me for saying that, but some do and some don't. Those that aren't healthy and not working on themselves will probably get upset with you. Like my grandmother used to be very mad at me when I would say no, that I can't, I have to go to work and then I'll do this. Oh, what do you mean you're only here for 15 minutes? Sorry, Nanny, I'm tired. But that wasn't allowed. I wasn't allowed to do that. And we teach people how to treat us.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. It is so true. And I always say, are you going to let that person control how you feel today? And that took me a lot to say that. Am I going to let that person control whether I'm going to be in a good mood or a bad mood, or if I'm going to ruin my day or not ruin my day? Why did I give that person control over me?
So hard to do.
That was a lot. Oh my gosh. If you knew how long it took me to be able to say those words and really practice that,
Yes, it's very hard.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just think, yeah, because it's not okay. And I can just walk outside now. And again, because I still have my temper, I still have my impatience, I still have all that stuff, it's not going to go away. It's just, how do I handle it? Right.
Exactly. And that's key.
Yeah, it is key.
That's key, because I have these buttons and people know how to push them, especially my family members. So I close the panel and I say, you're not going to push these buttons today. And that only happens if I'm really taking care of myself, like working on myself.
Yeah.
Go to my meetings, doing therapy, meditating, journaling. I do so much work on myself. Like,
you really do.
Right? People that aren't in recovery don't understand, like, why do you have to do that? Because I want to be the best person I can be, and I want to be happy. Otherwise, why be sober? I don't want to be miserable and drunk, right? I want to be emotionally happy, and I'm not emotionally happy every day. Believe me, it takes a lot of work.
It really does. But as long as we just pick it back up and just keep on going, but it's just like everything else. We maintain everything else, right? So why aren't we maintaining our spirituality and our growth and our, we have to continue to grow. I mean, growth is so important, correct?
That is so true. And a lot of people don't understand that the insides and outsides need to match. That's a really good point you made about, we maintain our hair, we'll do certain things, go to the gym for our bodies, for the way we look on the outside, but what about the inside? Exactly. And the goal is to have them match. Because when I was drinking, the outside looked great, but inside I was slowly dying.
Yeah, exactly.
I was angry and no one knew it because I was always smiling. And my sponsor gave me a book and said, of course you're angry. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not angry. I'm always smiling because this is how I am.
Yes.
Inside, I was pissed. Right. And when I drank, I would tell you what I thought about you. Oh. So that's what happened with alcohol. It had no filter.
No filter.
No filter.
I agree. It was dangerous sometimes. For sure. So what are you doing with your program today? How are you helping women with what you do in your program today? Because you've got quite a community. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. So I'm on social media
Mhm.
and I do inspirational messages and videos every day. I'm working for a nonprofit called Break Free, where I am doing Zoom groups that are complimentary for anybody. You can just go on Break Free, and I'll do these groups for an hour twice a month, teaching people strategies on how to be happier and ways to cope with anxiety, depression, and really how to take care of yourself and set boundaries. All the things that we're talking about, this is in that group.
Sure.
I also send out a newsletter once a month, which is a free newsletter. I developed a program, which I've shared earlier, which is the Happiness Sobriety System. And then there's another offshoot, the Happiness Signature System, for anybody that just wants to live a happier life and learn, strategies and tools. And then, of course, I go to meetings, I sponsor people, and people will message me, and I'm always ready to help others. So if you have any questions, any thoughts about anything, just message me. Go on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn and Instagram, and I'd be really happy, to help you.
Mhm.
So I'm always doing something.
Yeah, you are. You're all over the place. That's great. So thank you for sending me a copy of your book. I very, very much have enjoyed it.
You're
Would you like
welcome.
to tell us about the inspiration behind your book?
Well,
Because
here's my book, which is probably backwards, I guess, when you see it, but it's hashtag your rules, your life.
I love the color. Of course, they're my colors.
And me too. Yeah, look at your back. I know. I said I want that
They're
back.
my colors, right?
That goes with
I love
me.
the title. I love the title. Yeah, it's a very good book. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And this book actually is for anybody. It's not only for women in recovery, and it's a teaching memoir. And I talk about some personal stories about myself
Yes.
and my family, or how I set boundaries. And I also have permission from my clients to tell certain stories about their life and how they were able to transform and set boundaries and how their life has changed as a result. And it's like 95 pages. It's a really easy read with quick strategies, and it helps you move forward. And you can get it on Amazon or on my website, which is wendybehar.com.
Awesome. Awesome. If there was one most impactful thing that you could tell the women today, what would that be?
To put the oxygen mask on yourself first. And I love the little saying, slip, sobriety loses its priority. So what I learned, and I tell my clients, whatever you put ahead of your sobriety, you will eventually lose. Which means if you'd say, oh, I have to take my child to soccer, I can't go to a meeting, and you keep doing that, well, eventually you will relapse and you can lose your children.
Yeah.
So really, really putting yourself first is the most important thing in all areas of life. Because if you don't take care of yourself, like I said earlier, I think we talked before this recording, you get depleted, you become overwhelmed, and you're not as productive, right? So really, self-care is the most important thing in recovery.
Yeah, because you really take the time to align yourself, right? I mean, you are so in tuned with yourself and the universe, and you're completely in the now.
But today, I'm completely in now, right? Head and feet today.
I mean, I feel it, and I felt it before we even got on the call, right? So before we started the interview, but you're often like that. I know you're not like that all the time, and you're like that every day, but you work at that to be like that, right?
Correct. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work.
To get peace.
Yes, because in the morning, I can wake up anxious with all these different thoughts of things I need to do. So I try to get up an hour earlier before my husband does, so I can ground and center, and he'll put the TV on or whatever. So I have to go in another room. Like I have to learn how to take care of myself.
Yes.
And really ground, center, exercise, meditate. I speak to my sponsees or sponsor in the morning. Like the morning for me is my grounding and centering. If I don't do certain things, my whole day is off.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that could work. Just one day.
I know. And at first you don't realize it, and all of a sudden you're like, what is it? And then, oh my gosh, I didn't meditate today, or yeah.
Right.
Meditation can throw me off.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Not meditating can throw me off.
Yes. Even if it's 5 minutes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I don't do now at night. I actually go to sleep to music only meditation, and I leave it for an hour, and I fall asleep within a second. It's like, ooh. Yeah, it's awesome. But to me, I'm still feeling the vibration of the meditation music. That's just
I love that too. Well, in the middle of the night, if I get up and I can't fall back to sleep, I have my headset near my bed and I put it on and I listen to meditation. I also keep a pad and pen near my bed, and I tell my clients to do that, because if you have these racing thoughts, close my eyes and just write down, oh, call blah, blah, blah tomorrow. Because that loop. And, I didn't realize I drank because I was anxious. I didn't realize why I was drinking. Yeah, it was fun until it wasn't fun anymore, right? I started drinking at 14. I stopped at 35. So, it progressed to an everyday thing to handle stress. But that's why my natural nature is anxiety. My mother was anxious. It's passed on, but I want to stop it. So I have to do this work, like you said, the meditation, the journaling, or going to meetings, speaking to people like you that are in recovery,
right.
Like-minded people that are on the same trajectory.
Absolutely. It puts us in a different place, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you and I would never probably be the friends we are today if we both weren't in recovery.
That's right.
Never had this connection, first of all. But I mean, even then, it was just something that just bonded us, and I think that is because we're both in recovery and we both have that passion to help as many women as we can.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think we do. We share that very strongly at that point.
No coincidences, right? Like attracts like. I believe the universe.
You're right.
Mirrors of who you are.
Is there anything that I haven't asked you, or that you would like to talk to the audience about, or that you would like me to ask you?
I guess really the most important thing, whoever is listening, please realize that there is hope. And there are people out there that could help you. It doesn't have to be me. Maybe it's Corrine, maybe some of the other beautiful women on this summit. And we're here as a community to help you, because there are so many wonderful, wonderful tools and strategies and ways to live life. If you're listening to this, I just hope you'll reach out to someone and get the help you need, because life could be beyond your wildest dreams. And it doesn't mean you're going to get everything you want, because believe me, I didn't want to get divorced the first time. I, didn't want to see my dad who had Alzheimer's. I had to take care of him. My mom passing away. There are a lot of horrific things that go on in life. But if you're not drinking or drugging, you could handle it better. You can be present for those you love, and you can be present for yourself. And you're so worth it. So please, please reach out to somebody. And there is help out there. And I thank you, Corrine, from the bottom of my heart for putting all this work. And this is a lot of work. It is. And to bring it to the world and to people. And I have on my website actually a gift for you, for everybody.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that next. So you go right into it.
And it is a self-care journal that you can download, And you can get it on wendybehar.com on my website. I have some other things on there like self-care checklist. All these things are complimentary. I just want to give, to the world. And I just wish you all blessings and all good things in life.
And thank you.
Thank
You
you.
are some very special person, and we can't thank you enough for sharing your message, your story, and to being here and being part of our community today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaste.
Right. And I get this, I'm sorry, but namaste.